Okay, good evening, everyone. Hello, my name's Grant Woolner. If you don't know me already, I'm the Deputy Head Academic. Thank you so much for coming. We've got a goodly number of people and people still entering, but let me begin and make a start. This is being recorded, and so will be able to be published to those parents who couldn't make it this evening. Can I alert you, please, to the Q&A function? Which is along the top of the bar as you're looking at it. You have the ability there to write some questions for us, and I will. We have a Q&A section later where we'll endeavour to answer those. If they are questions regarding the whole year group, then I will select those and I'll forward them to Mr. Humphrey and Mrs. Bell. If they are more specific questions, then I'll endeavour to come back to you, but please do contact me via email. So. I'm going to toggle myself off now, excuse me. Right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we focus on helping our Year 11 students prepare for the important months ahead. As I said, I'm joined by Mr. Humphrey, the head of section, and Mrs. Bell, director of pupil progress, both of whom you'll hear from shortly. We're on the cusp of a critical period in Year 11's academic journeys, and our hope is that together we can guide them towards success this summer. While many students are showing commendable focus, as was exemplified by their assessment week results and their ongoing revision over the Christmas break, we do have some concerns about some apathy amongst others when it comes to striving for outcomes that at least align with their baseline data. That's really the bare minimum we would hope for any of them, but of course we would hope for far higher than that. This is an area we hope to tackle together to ensure no student sells themselves short or limits their ambitions. So, this journey begins with ambition. As parents and educators, our role is to instill in our students the belief that they can achieve great things. And success starts with a mindset, a drive to embrace challenges, learn from mistakes, and aim high. We are aware that some students may feel that GCSEs don't matter, perhaps viewing them just as a stepping stone to A levels, something to be rushed past. However, nothing could be further from the truth. GCSEs lay the foundation for their future, be it the sixth form with us or elsewhere, university, and their career aspirations. During this time, they develop critical skills, they are provided with opportunities, and they open doors to the next stage of their lives. Encouraging determination now will empower them not only for their exams, but also for life beyond school. In just 4 weeks, mock exams begin. These provide a crucial opportunity for students to understand where they stand and what needs improvement. Following assessment week and Year 10 end of year exams last year is their final chance for them to practice under full exam conditions and to build confidence before public exams begin. And the countdown has begun, 14 weeks until their first public exams. These weeks will absolutely fly by, especially with 4 of those weeks falling in either half term or the Easter holidays. While, of course, holidays are important and offer a much needed break, they're also a vital time to consolidate learning and refine skills, and most importantly, to get on with revision. So please join us in encouraging your students to use this time wisely. It will make a difference in their final outcomes. For any students who feel they've fallen behind, I want to emphasize it's not too late to start. However, time is of the essence. Every day counts from this point forward. So starting now, even with small, manageable steps, that can set them on the right track. But the longer they wait, the harder it is going to become to catch up. Eventually, it will become impossible. What we truly want for every student is to achieve their full potential. This isn't just about grades. It's about fostering a sense of pride and accomplishment in their efforts. We'll praise their progress, no matter how small, and remind them that hard work will pay off. Please echo this at home. Success, of course, looks different for everyone, but the key is striving to be the best versions of themselves. Finally, success is a team effort. At Luckily, we're committed to working in partnership with you and your children. Open communication is the key, whether it's about revision strategies, which you'll hear about this evening, concerns, or encouragement. Together, as a united front, we can ensure every student feels supported and equipped to meet the challenges ahead, and that no student settles for a grade below their potential. So thank you in advance for your continued support and dedication to our shared goal. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Humphrey and then Mrs. Bell, who will give further details of the support that's already in place and that which will be put in place for your sons and daughters. Then, as I've mentioned, following this, we'll address some of the questions that arise in the Q&A function. I'll be monitoring these, also moving the slides along while Mr. Humphrey and Mrs. Bell speak. So bear with me while I move along. Mr. Humphrey is up first. I'm going to toggle him on briefly for you to see. There he is. And I'll turn him off so that you're not distracted by his lovely face and instead look at the slides. So, Mr. Humphrey, over to you.
Next slide, please. Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, as Mr. Woolner touched upon there, your son and daughter is the heart of everything we do. They're the heartbeat of our school here at Luckley. Yes, they're coming to a time where academic outcomes are overly important. Okay, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that they are going to have the best outcomes when they open those results at the back end of August. So what are we doing? At the moment, tutors and within tutor time are, I call it a bit of a plan, do, review. So on 2 mornings a week, we are looking at, we've got our TASMI 10 Thursday with a focus around science. And on Tuesday, we're using the revision hub that Mrs. Bell will be touching upon to really have some bespoke intervention on areas that they perhaps need covering. Then on a Friday, that's our plan and review. That's our opportunity to reflect. What are we doing that's working well? What are the things that perhaps I need to be doing more of or less of? And these are going to be really supported by the tutors that we've got there, experts in their field. We've then got our study group sessions that have been extremely well attended. They've been focused a lot more around the coursework elements of late as we've come to sort of those deadlines. But pupils have really appreciated the conversations that we've been having in there, and also the conversations I can take back to the teacher in the classroom. What do their pupils want more of? And it's that relationship that's going to be really key to them getting the best outcomes possible. The support is pupil centered. We can't have a one method fits all policy. Every single one of your sons and daughters are different. We understand that the relationships we have with them are different. And we know that we have to approach certain things in certain ways to get those outcomes that are going to put them in the next stead for the next part of their life. We know how tough and stressful and overwhelmed our pupils are feeling. However, the way I've framed it to them and in some assemblies, stress is important. Stress is good. Stress gets us to an optimum level where we can thrive. We can be the best versions of ourselves. And pupils that come and find me when things are perhaps getting a little bit tough, and I'd say to them, we need to control the controllables. What things can we control within your power that's going to have a positive outcome? Let's not worry about things that are outside of our control that we can't focus on. Which leads nicely onto the assembly that I delivered to our pupils last week around choices. So next slide, please, sir. Choices. We spoke about how do we make a choice or a decision, and what decisions do we make day to day, and what are the consequences of those choices, and the big picture. Where did he sit in the big side of things? So how do we make choices? I mean, I bored them with a little bit of the neuroscience behind things, and how our prefrontal cortex works with our hippocampus and a variety of different things to engage all different genres of pupils. And we then looked at what decisions we make day to day. Those autonomous decisions with what we put on, with the decisions that we make to get to this, what time do I need to get to the school bus, and then also those bigger decisions. What do I do in terms of my revision? Am I going to spend 20 minutes sitting down revising a topic area that I find really difficult? Or am I going to sit on the sofa and play a game? And what are the consequences of those? Well, in the short term, playing my game, I might feel a bit better. It might distract me from things. But if we're looking at the bigger picture, the exams we've got ahead of us, those small marginal gains and those positive choices are going to have a much better consequence in the long run. And I mean, I was looking for a quote. I love a quote with our pupils. Control the controllables, one that's already come out tonight. And I found this one from Albus Dumbledore in Harry Potter, who says, "It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are far more than our abilities." And I've sent our pupils away and challenged them to make choices reflecting on the bigger picture that's going to promote that real positive outcome, especially around their academics. Being kind, having great positive relationships with their tutors, and engaging in all of the fantastic resources that Mrs. Bell is going to show you shortly. And ultimately, hard work is a choice. Our effort and attitude towards the activities, towards our revision, towards us, what we're learning in the classroom, that's going to have a huge impact in the long run. I'll now pass over to Mrs. Bell, who is our head of pupil progress, who will delve a bit deeper into some of the tools and resources that we've armed our pupils. But as always, please feel free to reach out if you have any concerns or worries, and I'm sure we'll be able to do the same.
Thank you very much, Mr. Humphrey. A reminder that the Q&A function is available, so do please type your questions in there. Mrs. Bell, I'm just toggling on so if you can say hello to everyone.
Well, good evening,
Wonderful.
everybody, and thank you so much to Mr. Humphrey and Mr. Woolner as well. And I hope I can give you a sense of what's being provided for pupils, and also a plea to have your support with making sure that these resources are used effectively. So I just wanted to make a point in that all of our initiatives this academic year have been designed to support all learners within the community, so all of Year 11, and that message has been relayed to them. So this year has seen a range of supportive measures, really designed to boost preparation for both mock and external exams. And essentially, we've delivered 5 measures, or provided 5 initiatives which we feel should be really effective in terms of exam preparation. So the first thing that we've been working on for many, many months and brought to fruition last term was our Year 11 Revision Hub, which sits within Microsoft Teams as a team. Now, if you haven't seen this, or if your son or daughter has not shown it to you, please ask them to give you access. This has been an initiative where we've asked all the subject teachers to bring all the information that they have on their subject areas into a one-stop shop where pupils don't have to go through numerous teams to find things. They just have this one location. So that's one initiative. The second is we've created a second team which contains revision timetable templates in digital form. And I'll come back to that in a little more detail in a moment. So these two resources, the Revision Hub and the Revision Timetable team, you can ask your son or daughter to show you. Within these teams, they can find a GCSE topic list spreadsheet. Now, this is one spreadsheet that lists all of the topics across every subject that they can possibly sit at GCSE here. Now that's for longer term revision, and I'll show it to you in just a moment. They can also rag rate red, amber, green where they feel they are sitting with particular topics. More recently, we've introduced what's called a Sunday 7 revision technique, which is being quite well received. We'd like to develop that a little bit more. And lastly, and very recently, we've introduced some model revision timetables, which cover the period up to and including February half term. And I'll show you some examples of those just now. So what do we want to provide? Well, we've been very clear in what our mission has been. First of all, our Revision Hub is designed to be a one-stop resource where pupils can access all of the revision information they need. And we're actually quite proud of that. If you do have a look at it, it's a fantastic resource. Secondly, we wanted to provide a bird's eye view of all topics to be revised across the entire subject range, and that's via our spreadsheet. We wanted to provide a mechanism for revising older content alongside homework, and that's our Sunday Sevens initiative. And finally, to provide clear examples of how revision timetables should and could be structured up to the February mock exam period. Could I have the next slide, Mr. Woolner, please? So here we go. This is what the Revision Hub contains. I'll give you a little guided tour in a moment. This is just a screenshot of what it looks like, and you can see it's got the revision little logo in the top left corner, which is exploding, and that's what you're looking for. And it contains this wealth of information on here, not just specifications, but detailed topic lists, glossaries, a wealth of summary revision materials, detailed revision lists, knowledge organizers, website links, videos, past papers, mark schemes, and lots of exam technique guidance, all provided by HODs and all approved by individual departments. So this is the place to be looking for information. So what we're going to do in a moment, if I could just have the next slide, is have a look at where this is. So in the first instance, you will be navigating to the team. This is the revision hub in the format of a team. Then go to the class notebook. And once in the class notebook, you click on the little bookmarks and then head to the content library and select Year 11. Here we can see the home page on the left, and here you can see all of the easy, quick links to individual subject areas. This example is chemistry GCSE, and just looking at here, you can see the absolute wealth of information provided, which was just outlined to you a moment or so ago. So this is just one of several, many subjects, in fact. Here's English language. Once again, we can see the wealth of information in the second column there. And here's an example of a topic list, giving a very clear guideline of what is covered and what the agenda is for the department. Finally, we'll have a look at religious studies as a further example. And here you can see in the second column again, you'll be able to see all of the resources there, plus a very user-friendly topic list, color-coded for easy access. And this just gives you a starting point, but there is a great deal of resources and information on there showing you how to revise this content. Could I have the next slide, please, Mr. Woolner? So in addition to the revision hub, which we've just given you a tour of, we also created a second team, which is called revision timetables. And here you can see that we set an assignment just before Christmas for pupils to complete a revision timetable to cover them over the Christmas break. Nearly all students completed that, so we're very pleased with that. And we have set newer assignments for them, which I'll discuss in just a moment. This is a second location to have a look at. Next slide, please, Mr. Woolner. So within the team that I've just shown you, the revision timetable team, you can see that we've provided students with a model revision timetable. We've literally uploaded these today for them. And you can see that we've populated a week one starting on Saturday, but we don't expect everybody to obviously have the same options. They can adapt these. There is a little mechanism within the team when they access them where they can populate them with their own options. And we have different versions for both combined science pupils and triple science pupils. And during the course of tomorrow in tutor period, the Year 11 tutors, guided by Mr. Humphrey, will be showing pupils how this works and how to customize these revision timetables that we've provided for them. We've also provided a blank one in case pupils would like to do that differently. But what we're really interested in is that pupils follow the guidance provided to plan their time effectively between now and the upcoming mock exams just after half term. Next slide, please, Mr. Woolner. So within the team that I've mentioned, the timetable team, just to give you a sense here of the wealth of information that there is within this team, guiding them how to create an effective revision timetable, and lots of PowerPoints there, little videos for them to learn a little bit more about revision and how to manage it effectively. So we don't expect them to do this on their own. They've been guided every step of the way during tutor times and during the materials that we've provided for them. Next slide, please, Mr. Woolner. So I did reference earlier on a spreadsheet, and here's an example of it. We've provided a very detailed spreadsheet with tabs at the bottom for every subject area. So every topic in every subject across the GCSE range is captured in this spreadsheet, and this gives pupils the opportunity to rag rate individual topic areas, so they can rate them green if they feel very confident they're achieving high marks, amber if they feel that consolidation is needed in that particular topic, and red if it's a real priority for them and they haven't covered it or they haven't fully understood it. So this is kind of the basis of how to populate the revision timetable. But we've also included, I appreciate that this may be for the longer term, but we have also included within the revision hub the more bespoke revision lists ready for the mock exams. So pupils can focus specifically on those areas, as I know they'll be the priority for them at the moment. Thank you, Mr. Woolner. I'm not sure if we have one more slide. Yes, so this is another initiative that we've introduced recently to pupils, and this is our Sunday Sevens revision technique. Now, if they're struggling to manage the process of revising older content alongside homework, this is a really nifty technique for alleviating the stress that could come from that. So we call it Sunday 7 or Golden Revision, and the idea is that on a Sunday, you sit down for a little period of time and you list your subjects in the middle section. Then for each evening, you decide which subject you're going to revise some older content from, and you list that under each evening. Then you pick a specific topic and you bullet point that underneath, and then you choose a preferred revision technique and you list what that's going to be. This isn't a lengthy activity. It's just 20 or 25 minutes before you start your homework or what other work that you've got going on. This is a mechanism for doing regular revision of older content. And then you repeat the process on Sunday. You sit down, you list your subjects again, and you dedicate under each day how your 20 minutes revision time is going to pan out and what you're going to cover. And that gives you a little routine for the week. This has been very successful with some of the pupils we've used it with, and they found it's helped to take away some of the anxiety of just knowing where to get started. And I think it's that sense of overwhelm that can be the biggest barrier sometimes. So this is a really good technique for that. And of course, even 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day really does amount to a considerable period of time by the end of the week. So if they're really struggling and not knowing where to start, I would really recommend this technique as a good starting point. Thank you, Mr. Woolner. I'm not sure if we have another slide. And I think it's back to you, Mr. Woolner.
Thank you very much indeed, Mrs. Bell. Yes, indeed. I just wanted to go over, as I mentioned, that there were 14 weeks before the first exam, and so this is the timeline of events. We see that towards the end of February, as soon as we're back from half term, a 2-week stint of mock examinations begin. Of course, students, we hope to replicate the mock experience. What we can't replicate is the fact that they normally take 6 weeks, so the whole thing is sped up rather. But the same format, same length of papers, same sessions, one in the morning at 9, one in the afternoon at 2, will be in place. At the end of that, Mr. Humphrey and Ms. Hayden will run a de-stressing afternoon where students are able to reflect on the feeling and what they've learnt from it before they get any kind of marks back. And then the following Monday, they are back in lessons. We then move through to the Easter holidays, and there will be Easter revision sessions, and I'll publish information regarding that. I know that you're keen to hear about it in the coming weeks. Then we're into the summer term. There's not a great deal of the summer term before the exams begin, and so the very first exam begins on the 7th 8th of May rather, with the pre-exam afternoon. There's farewell to year 11 afternoon, with on the 7th, before the exams begin on the 8th, and then they end. Depending, there's always a little bit of contingency depending on what papers have or have not happened on the 18th of June, before we have the year 11 drinks reception on the 26th. So that's what the flow of the next few weeks looks like. It's now time to respond to any questions, and I notice that one has popped up in the margin, and I imagine it's a combination of Mrs. Bell and I to answer it. Regarding the revision plan, will homework be set as an integrated part of the revision plan as opposed to being additional to it? Mrs. Bell, is there anything you'd like to say on that before I respond?
I think that's where the Sunday sevens comes in a little bit, because it allows time for revision before any other demands in terms of homework, etc., is to be completed. But I think that it's really a case of finding that time and protecting it, because inevitably, I think, Mr. Woolner, there will still be requests from subject teachers to continue with tasks that they've set them, if I'm correct.
Yes, absolutely. Mrs. Bell had, in designing her revision timetable, mulled over whether it was even possible to create a universal revision timetable to say, on this night you will do this topic of English language, and really went through with a fine-tooth comb as to whether to do that. Given that of the students' 9 subjects, only 5 are core, and within the core some students will be doing combined science and triple science, it simply wasn't logistically possible to make a universal timetable, and therefore what has emerged is a very, very helpful template, which students will be encouraged to fill in alongside their tutors. That's part one of the answer. The second part is that courses are yet to be finished, and so I need to balance out the ability to finish the GCSE courses post mocks alongside the ability to revise. Every subject will naturally taper their homework load in advance of mocks, and then in advance of the real exams, and that will continue. And I'm going to allow them to do that on a subject by subject basis, because all, as we said, all students are different, but also all subjects are different, and there isn't a one size fits all approach that I think would be appropriate. So hopefully that answers that question. That's the only question that has emerged, which I'm hoping either means that the information we've given was reasonably clear, or that the system doesn't work. And I'm hoping that it's the former rather than the latter. As I did mention, we are just an email away for any individual concerns there. So before we say goodbye, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Really, as I mentioned previously, it's partnerships, and both Mr. Humphrey and Mrs. Bell spoke about that as well. Your role as parents is vital in motivating them, in guiding them, and providing the belief in your children, especially during this critical period. And so we really believe that your ongoing support makes all the difference in fostering their confidence and their determination. So as we work together, please let us remember the lucky line that where there's belief, there's possibility. And so I'm so grateful to you for all your efforts to ensure that our students believe in themselves enough to want to achieve highly. No more questions have arisen in it, so I will close the meeting in a moment. But again, I really thank you, and we, all three of us, 1, 2, 3, all look forward to working with you, with your sons and daughters, to really achieve as best as they can. It will be a team effort, and that, if it hasn't already started, that really does start now. So thank you very much. Have a good evening. Take care, and you'll hear from us again soon. Bye-bye.